Hi, I'm Ian Anderson-Gray from Seriously Social, and you are listening to the Social Media Talks podcast with Alan Hennessy from compassmedia.ie.
Welcome to Social Media Talks podcasts, brought to you by compassmedia.ie.
Hello and thank you for joining me. This is the Social Media Talks podcast, brought to you by compassmedia.ie, episode number 26. I'm your host, Alan Hennessy, and this is the podcast to help business owners who want to learn more about social media marketing. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. And we also invite you to join our Facebook group. And for more details on that, you can log on to facebook.com/groups/social media talks. And we are looking forward to today's show. I am going to be joined by Ian Anderson-Gray, and Ian is a confident live marketing coach and founder of Seriously Social. He's an international speaker, trainer, teacher, web developer, and consultant as well. He has a passion for making technobabble of live video and social media marketing easy to understand. Ian is the co-founder of Select Performers, a family-run web agency. As well as being a geek, a husband and a dad of 2 kids, Ian is also a professional singer and lives near Manchester in the UK. And today we are going to be talking all about going live through video on social media and some of the tips and the tricks to help you understand live video in more detail. So without further ado, I think we will transition straight over to the interview with Ian. Hi Ian, how are you today? Thanks for joining us today on the Social Media Talks podcast. It's a pleasure to have your company today, and looking forward to chatting all about live videos, and in particular I suppose we'll be talking about Facebook. How are you today?
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, I'm doing really well. It's great to be here on your show. Thanks for asking me.
Yeah, so if you might, for anyone who doesn't know you, we've given a brief introduction to you in the intro of the show, but for anyone who doesn't know, you might give a little background on yourself first.
Well, it depends on how much detail you want, but yeah, so my name's Ian Anderson-Gray. I live near Manchester in the UK, and I run a blog called Seriously Social. I focus on social media tools, specifically live video, and I help people with confidence getting in front of the camera. I also run a web agency called Select Performers, where we build and maintain websites. And I actually trained back in the day as a professional singer. That's my background. So I've got a performing background, and I love to mix the tech and the performance side of things. So live video in a way is a perfect mix for me.
Brilliant stuff. And we might even get you to sing a song later on. No, we won't.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, no, it's excellent. So as I said, we're here to talk today about live video and the power of live video. And of course, it's really taken off in the last couple of years. And I think there's so many opportunities for people to get out there and get their brands out there and get in front of a camera and get people knowing them and getting to know what it is that they're about as well. So I know we talked previous to this about, how can we start this? So we might talk, I think that's probably the best place to start is how do we actually set about going and doing a live video?
Well, there's the technical side of things is actually relatively simple. You only need 2 things to go live on Facebook. And that is an internet connection, which I assume most people have. The important thing here, though, is your upload speed. So do check before you go live. This is something I recommend. Just go to a speed test service like speedtest.net and check your speed before you go live, because it's the upload speed that's important. So this is a tiny little bit techie, but it's just if you've got a minimum of 3 or 4 megabits per second up, you're good to go. Any lower than that, you may have problems. And then the second thing that you need is a smartphone, an iPhone or an Android phone, relatively, if it's been around for the last 2 or 3 years, you should be fine. And then it's just a case of going to your Facebook app and clicking where you want to go first. So if it's your profile, your page, or your group, and then you should have the option just to go live. Just click on the live button. What I do recommend though, when you're starting off, is to practice first. And you can do this easily by going to your profile, just type some text for your live post, click the live button, and then you've got the option to change the privacy settings to only me. So you probably notice this when you go live, when you post to your profile, that you've got the options for public, friends, and only me. So if you do a live video to only you, then no one's going to be watching you. You can have a little play and a test with it and see how you get on with it.
Yeah, and
then as you feel a bit more comfortable, you can then change it to friends and then go public.
Yeah, and I think that's very important, because a lot of people, you'll see them actually going on live and they won't have a clue. This is my first time on and stuff like that. So yeah, I totally agree. I think if you do, it's like, I suppose, practice makes perfect as well, you know what I mean? But I think obviously there has to be authenticity there as well when you do go live, that it's not sort of staged as such, because I think that also as well is a huge factor in live video, where you know, you can't hide. But I think there's a lot as well to do there with, you know, being confident as well in front of the camera. You might talk about a little bit about that.
Well, yes, the whole confidence side of things. So I've spoken to quite a few people who would maybe describe themselves as shy or introverted or just plain petrified in terms of getting in front of the camera. And I think you need to realize, first of all, if you feel like that, you are not alone. I feel like that from time to time. You know, I think it's actually a good thing to feel nervous before you do a live video. I feel nervous if I'm going and speaking at a conference, but it's turning those nerves, that kind of fear, into energy in front of the camera. That's the key. And the only way to learn how to do that is to keep on doing it, to start. If you don't start, then you're never going to get there. It's like going to the gym. The hardest part about going to the gym or doing any form of exercise, in my opinion, is just getting out of the door. It's that first step. So I think there's a few things that you can do, some practical steps that will help you get started with your first live video. I think, first of all, just test, get in front of the camera and try and build some consistency. A great place to start is doing some Instagram stories or Facebook stories. Now, this is not live video, but these are 15-second little short snippets that you can record of yourself throughout the day, and do that for 7 to 14 days. Just do it consistently every day. Get in front of the camera. If you mess up, you can re-record it. It's not the end of the world. And the great thing about stories is they disappear after 24 hours. So what's the worst that's going to happen? Definitely,
someone's just going to see it for 24 hours and then say, right, okay.
So build some consistency and get in front of the camera. That's a great place to start. And then it's really a case of going live, but with a plan. Now, I'm not against being spontaneous. I think that's fine. But actually, when you first go live, it's good to come up with a title and 3 points that you're going to share. So if you've written a blog post, for example, why not take that blog post, take the title, extract 3 points from that blog post, and that's going to be your live video. Put those, print off those points in front of you, and then you can go through those points one by one, and that's your live video. Make it only 5 minutes to begin with, and then try and do that every day or once a week, twice a week. Be consistent. And there's quite a few other things you can do. You could join a group of people. You could join a live video challenge where each of you're kind of encouraging each other to be consistent and to go live and help each other.
And I know that because I've done an NLP course, and what they done was actually in the group there was a group of say 10 of us, and what we had to do was as one of the parts of the NLP was to get yourself in front of a camera. So you had to make a video diary every day and post it into the group, and it was actually amazing because you've seen people going from actually being petrified on the first day and not knowing to literally, like, the first video on the Monday was maybe 2 minutes, but by the Friday it was nearly 10 minutes. So it was a great way of actually getting people to get used to being in front of camera, and they started to understand and started to feel that they weren't as self-conscious, I suppose, as what they would have normally have been in front of a live camera. Because I remember they were even saying to us, like, oh, I couldn't do that. Now, as for me, I was grand because obviously I've been on live video and stuff like that before, so it didn't really affect me. But at the same token, I could see the change in people. And another point of what you were saying there about being petrified before you go on camera, it's similar, as you said, to doing a live actual event where you would actually speak. But taking it down even one more peg is when you meet someone or you're talking to someone in the street or at a party or wherever it may be, you're not terrified to speak there. So it's just a case of literally just getting in front of that camera and pretending that person that you're actually talking to is just inside that computer or inside the iPhone. That's
a great point. And And I think it's funny in a way. I feel slightly more comfortable speaking in front of a crowd of people at a real live event than when I'm in front of a computer, because, at the moment, we can see each other. So that's fine. But when you're going live and there's like 10, 20 people watching you, you can't see them and you don't always know who they are. Yeah. And that can be a little bit scary, but you've got to get that kind of thought out of your head. And what I always say to people is it's always important to look through the camera lens and imagine that behind that camera lens is your ideal customer, your customer avatar, whatever you want to call them, and you're just down the pub having a chat with them. Yeah. I mean, that is still going to be difficult the first time you do it, but the more you do it, the easier it will get. The other thing to try and avoid doing is, and Facebook made this really hard, is try and avoid looking at the number of viewers that you have, because this is another problem that I think we can all face. You've either got a horrible 0 or one person watching you, and even one person is good, but we all, I don't know, maybe this is just me, I'm sure it isn't, we all play the numbers game, don't we? And we think, oh, nobody's watching me, nobody loves me. And, the opposite, I mean, this is probably unlikely to begin with, but you may have the opposite problem, and like hundreds of people are watching and you go, oh my goodness, there's hundreds of people watching me. So try and avoid that, because the other thing about live video that's so important, we get so excited or so caught up with the live element of live video that we just think about our live viewers. But actually, in my experience, much more people will watch the replay than they will live. So you may only have like a couple of people watching you live, but later in the day, you may get dozens, you may get hundreds over a period of time. And my original live videos that I produced, I didn't get many live viewers because it was the first time I was doing it. But even today, I get people that are watching those live videos from a year or 2 years ago. So think about your replay viewers as well. Yeah, and that's very important as well. And, I've often said that I actually was dealing with a company a while back, and they were saying, oh, I've done the live videos, but I only ever get 1 or 2 people on. So I said, well, let's go on and do one now. And he says, all right, okay. And he was proving the point to me. He said, oh, look, I've only got 1 viewer. And I says, okay, fair enough. Now leave it. Okay, we've done the live video. Now I had a meeting with him the following week. And he says, okay, let's look at the live video. And he'd over 1,500 people had watched that video in the space of that week. And he went, hold on. He says, are you saying that? And I said, yes. And I was trying to prove the point to him that is like, as much as live video is great there and then, and it is brilliant, if you do get a number of people that are watching, it's fantastic. And it is great interaction and the comments and stuff that start flowing in. But it's the remarketing after it as well. And when we explained that to him and said, well, now you can take that video and you can put it up on, whether it be on YouTube or on your blog or on the website. And he went, oh my gosh, I never realised that I could do so much with this. And it's only when you start explaining, I think, to people, and people start understanding that concept, that they do it. The big thing that I always find is that when people, and it annoys me so much, is when they come on and say, hold on, I'm just going to invite a few friends on, or I'm going to invite these people on, and they don't say anything and they're just pressing the button in front of me. I think that is it's such a bad thing, because what happens is if you decide to, in 2 or 3 weeks time, to put it up on your blog, and suddenly all of a sudden you're waiting for the video to start, if it's on YouTube, I'm not going to sit around, I'm going to go, I'm just gone. So I think getting straight into the crux of what you're going to be talking about is good. Now obviously you'd have the pleasantries, but you're totally right. This is, we're going to, first of all, we're going to make mistakes when we go live for the first time. You are going to, you may not be perfect, I'm sorry to break that to you. And, but I learned so much right from the start. I was one of those people. I was like, when I went live, I would say, am I live? Let me check on my phone if I'm live. I'm live, and I do that. And then, let's see if I need to share this to my profile on my page. And then you kind of realize that, of course, that is so boring for your replay viewers. You've got the first 3 minutes of people watching you messing around with all this stuff. So the thing that we need to remember is we've got to almost be focusing on 2 types of viewers. The first people to watch your video will not be the live viewers, because it will take probably at least a minute. Sometimes it can take up to 10 minutes for people to realize that you've gone live before they join you. So the first people you greet are your replay viewers. Get straight in there, be really confident, say, thanks so much for watching the replay. Today we're going to be talking about, and then you introduce the topic. And then at that point, once you've had that first initial section for your replay viewers, hopefully your live viewers will start to appear and you can welcome them into it. But again, again, you've got to think about your live viewers. So you don't want to spend too long welcoming all these people, because that's going to be boring for your replay viewers. So you've got to have almost like two parts to your brain going on. You've got your live, you're focusing on your live viewers, but you're also focusing on your replay viewers. That can be quite hard, and that takes a bit of practice. So the only way is to keep doing it, and you will improve.
And it is true, yeah. And another point that actually someone told me that they done, and I thought it was a very good thing what they done, before they started doing live videos, what they used to do was practice in front of the mirror, that they would literally just keep talking away for 10 minutes in front of the mirror every day, and just getting used to, project, and especially when they were able to look at the mirror and they were able to see what they were looking like, and they were saying, okay, and they even found that they were doing things that they would have normally not done with their hands or whatever. So, it's like, that's, and looking straight into the camera as well, because often that's a killer. You see people who will actually look, if they have it on their screen, they're looking at the actual screen as opposed to in the camera, and it can be quite disconcerting if people aren't actually looking at the camera, because it feels like they're actually not looking at you when they're talking to you.
That's such a common problem. I did this for ages. I was looking, it's not that I wanted to look at myself, it's just, particularly if you're live on your phone, you've got a big video image of yourself.
Yeah.
And the camera itself, on the front facing camera on your phone, is tiny. So it's very tempting to look at yourself. And so what I recommend is, it's a bit of an old school method, but get something, get a post-it note or get a sticker that points to your camera. And I did this on my webcam. I actually printed out 4 big red arrows and put that behind my webcam. Yeah. And it actually forced me to look at the camera, and it made such a difference. So definitely do that. Look through the camera, nod at yourself. And if you keep doing that, if you keep practicing that, you will learn how to do that. It will take a bit of time. And then the other thing is in terms of you practicing, I totally agree with you. I think that's an absolutely vital thing. Go live just to yourself, first of all, and then watch it back. Watch your video back. If you're like most of us, you will probably hate looking at yourself. Absolutely hate looking at yourself. And the thing that you've got to do is you've got to look at yourself again and be encouraging first. Come up with 2 or 3 things that you did right, first of all, and then be constructive. Most of us aren't constructive about ourselves. We think, oh my goodness, I don't do that, do I? Yeah. Oh, so imagine that you are giving somebody else some advice and improve over time.
It's an important thing to do, because I think, we, as you say, we don't praise ourselves enough and say, oh, well, I did well there or whatever. Like, I remember, like, I've started using the eCam, which is, that, and I think it's brilliant. And the scheduling of it. But I started using the scheduling only a couple of weeks ago. And the first time I used the scheduling on it, I said, that's grand and whatever. And it actually just automatically starts then at the time that you say, for if it's 9 o'clock. I remember sitting there and I was getting ready and it was 2 minutes past 9 and I was live and I was going, oh, I'm live. And I actually did it again last night as well. I was like, oh gosh. And I could have been singing or anything, or I could have been, scratching.
That would have been great. I mean, in a way, that's kind of, you probably don't want to do that, but actually, it's quite funny, and it just shows the real us. We all make mistakes, and I've had the kids nearly come into the room. You remember that? It was that BBC interview, wasn't there?
Brilliant.
So actually, people love when things go wrong. Yeah. A client of mine, bless her, she had so many problems at the start. She had, I think, the cleaners came into her office, and then something fell down, but she kept going, and actually people like it. It shows a bit of your humanity. It's why people like live video as opposed to recorded video, because recorded video can often be sanitized, and I'm not against it.
It can be very polished, polished,
polished. And actually, sometimes we just want a bit of humanity, a bit of reality in our lives, don't we?
And that's true, because like, everyone's human, and I suppose like everyone makes their mistakes, and it's just a case of just getting on and doing it. And I think the thing that I love about live video, especially with the types of, say, Facebook, is that you can actually get on, and if, for instance, like if we're doing talks, I had a girl come up to me one night and she says, you're exactly the same way as you are on video. And I'm going, yeah, I know I am. Yeah, I know I am. And she went, yeah, but the way some people put on a persona when they go on live? And I says, yeah. So it's sort of, people can see and say, well, like they get very I suppose they trust you more if they see you live on a video.
That's so important. And yeah, I think you need to be okay with being yourself in front of the camera. But I will say you do need to kind of change a few things. You know, you need to kind of probably build up your energy levels a little bit more. So this might not, when I said it's kind of imagine that you're with a friend down at the pub, it's not quite like that, because if I was to speak to you like we're down the pub, I might just speak like this and say, yeah, hi, how you doing? And you can probably hear my voice is slightly lower now, and the energy levels are not as much. And that's probably going to that's okay if we're just having a conversation. But with a live video, we need to kind of get our energy levels a little bit more. And you can probably tell with my voice, I'm actually using some of the higher parts of higher resonances in my voice, and I'm a little bit more animated. We need to have a bit of excitement in our voices and make sure that we're speaking. Our diction is really, really good. So I'm still me. I hope I'm still me. I'm still it's still the real me, but I'm just making sure that my energy levels are a little bit higher, and I'm really speaking to the people as if I'm on stage in kind of conference hall.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, and I'd be similar in the same sense when it comes to the podcasting here. But it's I think as well as that, I think that's a lot to do with training. Like obviously I've had experience within radio and stuff like that, and you know how to project your voice with it. So it's just, as you say, you know, that getting that energy that is going to feed into that video for you. So I can see the point of what you're saying there is, and it is valid, because there's no one wants to sit and watch a video where someone's talking like that, and it's like that. It's like the, you know, Mrs. Doubtfire, where they were talking, where your man is doing he's doing the program, and he's talking in a real low voice, and the kids aren't excited. And I think Robin Williams comes in and he actually says, you know, why don't you add a bit of energy into it? And suddenly it changes, and then he obviously gets the job and whatever, but so on. But the point being that, you know, that low voice and that dulcet tone is just not working for that program. And it's the same, I suppose, with live video, is you have to be a bit more excited. And I do agree totally with you on diction. That's one thing that I always, I hear people there and I go, oh, you know, please just even stop a minute and think about what you're saying, you know.
And it's the problem is that if you think about it, one of the reasons why we don't like listening to our voices quite often, or most people don't, is that we're not used to hearing our voice the way other people hear our voices. And so we're kind of not used to how we speak. And so recording your voice and listening back is absolutely vital. And actually, even better, if you can see a voice teacher or performance coach to help you with your voice, they can teach you things, how to project, how to improve your diction. That is going to be far easier than you trying to do it off the cuff as you do your live video, because you're not going to hear things the way other people do. So it's just a case of maybe exaggerating the words slightly. It's not necessarily speaking slowly, but the endings of words and again getting the energy into your voice. That's so important. Audio is much more important than the video. People are going to forgive if the video is a little bit blocky and not working quite so well if they can hear you, but if they can't hear you, they're going to switch off. So that's definitely important.
As you say, like you will put up with a video that sort of maybe, you know, might say buffer or whatever it may be if it's on, but if the audio is no good, people are just going to say, oh, here, I can't listen to that, or there's too many hums, or there's a whatever, and try and do it in a quiet place. Try and do it. That's a big thing, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, for not much money, you can really improve the audio quality. If you're using your phone, just get a Lateral lapel mic. There's the Rode, what's it called? The Lateral Plus is the one I use. You can plug that straight into your iPhone. It does work with some Android phones, but if you're an Android user, just double check that, and that will really improve the quality of the sound. And if you're broadcasting from your computer as well as a webcam, you can just buy a relatively cheap USB microphone, which is going to vastly improve the quality. I've heard people do live videos with their built-in microphone, and they're not great. So just bear that in mind, and also make sure that you're wearing some earphones, some headset, so that you're not getting any of that echo from your own voice coming out of the speaker.
Yeah, and as you said, like the tech, you can actually you can do it relatively cheap at the start of it, and then as you start to get, if it starts to be a thing where you say, right, okay, this is working for me, then you can start investing in the better equipment. You know, like the eBays and the Amazons of this world, there's some fantastic kit on it, and you know, I suppose you're probably like myself. I could go on to Amazon, and like a child, and it's a candy store, I want more, I'll have that, and I'll have that, and you know, oh, and you can buy this as well, oh right, I'll have that. You know, it's just it gets silly.
You can be very poor after going to Amazon.
very quickly.
Very quickly. I'm a big fan of bootstrapping my live video studio. So it's so easy, isn't it, to compare yourself to others. And you see there are some people that have these amazing studios, and they've probably spent thousands or tens of thousands of euros or dollars on these studios. But you don't have to do that. You could just start with, a computer, a webcam like the Logitech C920. It's fine, and it's very, very cheap from Amazon. Get a cheap USB camera, start there. You don't necessarily need to buy lights. If you're near a window and it's during the day, then that's good. But I didn't start with lights, and then last year I bought some lights, the LED lights, and they work really, really well. But you don't have to do that. You can spend less than $100 on some really good lights, and then after that you can start looking at investing in some tools for live video. You mentioned Ecamm Live. That's only like $30. I mean, it's ridiculously cheap. It's unfortunately only available for Mac users, but I couldn't get over that. I thought that was brilliant. So I says, right, well, let's try this Ecamm and see how it works, because obviously I'm a Mac user, and I just was blown away by it. And the fact that you can put in text overlays and add logos and stuff like that, and it's very simple as well to use. It's not that hard to set up and whatever. Once you have an idea about it, it works perfectly. I think it's criminal, really, what they've done there. It shouldn't be allowed. It's just it's too inexpensive, and it's too easy to use, and it's too powerful. It's really, really good. I mean, I'm a huge OBS Studio fan. So OBS Studio is more powerful than Ecamm, but it has a kind of steeper learning curve. And it is available for PCs and Macs. So it's definitely worth looking at if you're a PC user or even a Mac user. I still use OBS, but I still use Ecamm, and there are plenty of other tools out there. We could probably do a whole podcast on live video tools.
The only thing that I found with OBS is, as you say, it's a very steep learning curve, and I think you need to spend a lot of time. You need to spend a bit of time and say, right, okay, what does each part of this do? And I suppose, as you say, like it's a learning curve, but once you get your head around it, it becomes very simple. And if you are on PC, it's probably one of the best, if not that, between that and Wirecast, they're probably the best ones around to actually use for live video.
Well, there's on the PC, there's Wirecast. I mean, that's inexpensive. That starts from about $700. I use that on my Mac. It's a really, really good tool, really powerful tool. And then on the PC, there's vMix. vMix is a lot of the kind of big studios now are using vMix or Wirecast, and that is it's got a steep learning curve, but it's very, very, very good, and that's for PC only. And that has, I think they have a free version and a relatively inexpensive one. It costs about $80, but that goes right up to well over $1,000 for the top end version of vMix.
Because I know we for a while there, I was working with Trevor Lawkins and Howard Hughes and the Effectifying Social, and we used to do the ESTV every week, and I know Trevor used to control the tech on his end, and he used to use vMix, and he said it was he loves it. He says he just finds it very easy and very intuitive the way he is actually able to mix stuff in as well, and so it's definitely worth looking at it as well. But so that's fantastic. Some really, really fantastic tips there. I am going to introduce a new thing here on the Social Media Talks podcast, and I haven't told Ian about this yet, and I know there's fear in his here. There's fear here at the moment. But what I want to try and do is every week I'm going to ask our guest one question, and that one question is if you had the chance to invite anyone to a dinner party, whether it be past or present, who would that be and why?
Well, I'm more of a kind of a present kind of orientated person, or a future one. So there's loads of people I could say from the past who would be amazing, but I'm going to say Mary Smith, because I really respect her as a Facebook expert, and I'd love to just chat about how she kind of came to be where she is now, and pick her brains on all the Facebook stuff and have a bit of a geeky conversation. And she's originally from Scotland, and my parents are from Scotland, so we've got a bit of a connection there too.
Excellent. Well, Ian, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. How can people reach out to you if they want to get in contact with you?
Well, please do get in touch. I'd love to hear from you guys listening. My website is iag.me, so do find me there. But I'm pretty much scattered carelessly across the social web, so you can find me most places. I'm on Twitter at iagdotme, that's iag.me, and you can find me on Facebook. Just search for my name, Ian Anderson Gray, and that's Gray with an A, Gray.
Ian, as always, it's a pleasure, and thanks for coming on and talking to us today on the Social Media Talks podcast, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Alan.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. So my thanks to Ian for coming on the show today. Fantastic insights there, and some brilliant tips and tricks as well about going live through video on social media and on Facebook as well. And if you'd like to find out more information about Ian, you can log on to his website at iag.me. You can also find him on Twitter at iagdotme. And you can also find him on Facebook as well. And all you have to do there is search for Ian Anderson Gray. You've been listening to the Social Media Talks podcast. And if you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts, you can log on to our website at compassmedia.ie/podcasts. You can also find all the show notes as well there for each one of these shows. And all of our podcasts are also available on Mixcloud, Stitcher Radio, Google Play and iTunes. And if you are on iTunes, please do leave us a rating and review, as we're delighted to always receive your feedback on any of our podcasts. You can also subscribe to the Social Media Talks podcast so you never miss an episode as well. And if you'd like to become a guest on the podcast here, please do get in contact with us. You can email us at smtalks@compassmedia.ie. If you'd like to find out more of the services that Compass Media provide, from social media marketing, training and podcast services, please see our website for more details at compassmedia.ie. So we do hope you enjoyed this podcast today. I've been Alan Hennessy from Compass Media, and we'll see you all again next week for more of the same. So as I always say, on the next week, have a great week and be social. On the next time, bye-bye.
Social Media Talks podcast is a production from compassmedia.ie.